Hello and welcome back. I'm Joseph Hoffman, and in this lesson we're going to begin learning a new piece I composed called Autumn Moon. Let's have a listen. Let's check out the score for Autumn Moon. We'll do our usual checklist. The tempo indication is flowing, which will indicate we don't want a tempo too slow. We want the notes to flow along, but also not too fast. Should be comfortably flowing. Notice our clefs. We've got double treble clef today, so both of our hands will be in that middle C and up range. Let's check out our key signature. 1 sharp would tell us we're in the key of G major or E minor. So how do we tell? Well, let's look at the first note. What do we start on? If you said E, you're correct. And then if we look to this first chord that we play on the downbeat of measure 1, you'll see it's an E minor chord. So I think we'd be safe to say we're in the key of E minor today. Our time signature is 4/4. And then let's look at these first couple of notes. Is this a complete measure? No. We've got a bar line here and a bar line here, so we can see here's our first full measure. These notes have to be pickup notes. Remember, sometimes we have some notes that come before beat 1. Composers do that if they want the piece to start on a more gentle sound. Remember, the first beat of a measure is a stronger beat. But for a more gentle sound, you can start with some pickup notes, which is what I've chosen to do here. So we know that's beat 1. We just have to count backwards. Well, 2 16th notes equals 1/8 note, which equals half of a beat. So I know this has to be the and then we call the 16th note right after the and an So we can say and a 1. This is technically the and of beat 4. So if I were counting a full measure to get us ready, we could say 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, and then we'd begin. Now, if you glance through this piece, you'll notice there's lots of 16th notes and 8th notes, and here's some dotted quarter notes. That means we'll probably be well served to count 1E and a 2E and a using our subdivided 16th note counting. Remember, when we count subdivided 16th notes, we say 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. So every single 16th note has a sound. Say it with me. Go. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. And this kind of counting will help you get all these rhythms accurately. For example, we can write the counts in this first measure like this. So if we were to tap this rhythm, let's start right here on the and you can try tapping with me. I'll start on beat 3 before we get here. 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Notice that this dotted quarter note, since it equals 1.5 beats, all of beat 3 gets taken up, plus half of beat 4, which is this 4E, and then these last two 16th notes get the and a. So 3E and a, 4E and a. Now, as you get more advanced with this, it's okay to leave out some of the E and A's and just imagine it. So like right here, this dotted quarter note, which gets 1.5 beats, I can just write 1 and 2, and I know it gets the first half of beat 2, and so these two 16th notes have to be and a. So I can think 1E and a, 2E and a, and then here's beat 3, and then we have a fermata, which will eat up beats 3 and half of beat 4, and we can stretch that out extra long, and then this and a takes us on to the next line. Now I'd like you to pause the video and try writing in the counts, the subdivided 16th note counts for measures 3 and 4, and then practice tapping and counting the rhythms in measures 3 and 4. You can also review line 1, and then press play, and we'll look at it together. Here are the counts. I chose to leave out any counts where there wasn't a rhythm, but in our mind we can still think them. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Let's try tapping the rhythm of measure 3 while we count the beat. Ready, go. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Now let's try measure 4. Try it with me. Ready, go. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Now pause if you need more practice with that. And if you're wondering what to do about those grace notes, remember a grace note is played so quickly you don't really need to give it a rhythmic value. You can ignore it when you're practicing the rhythm, and then when you play it, you treat that grace note almost as if it's part of this beat 2. So played on the piano, those two beats would sound like 1E and a, 2E and a, 2E and a, 2. See, on beat 2, I just combine the grace note with the B. Now that we've learned the rhythms, let's try to play it. So let's check out the right-hand part here at the beginning. We have 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3, and then we'll hold for the fermata. Now notice all those intervals. We had that sixth on the downbeat of measure 1, then we have a fifth, and then don't forget anytime you have an F, it's an F sharp, then we have a third, and then fermata. Now pause to work on that right hand alone, and I encourage you to count the subdivided beat out loud so you're sure to get all the rhythms correct from the start. Work on that first section, right hand alone, then press play to go on. Now today, instead of doing a big section right hand alone, and then another lesson for left hand alone, let's go ahead and try putting it hands together early on. So we're going to look at the left hand part right now. And what do you see here in measure 1? Can you play measure 1 for me? And don't forget, you're in treble clef. What should we play? Go ahead and try it. If you played 1E and a 2E and a 3E 4 E and A, you're correct. And then here in measure 2, our finger 1 plays G, and then we've got this interesting 3-note chord. And all those notes are mushed together with one stem because you play them all together. It's a D, F sharp, G, all played together. And it creates a dissonance, yes. But I wanted this kind of magical, unique sound. You know, these 2 notes together make a dissonance, but if you play it gently, and we'll add in pedal, damper pedal later, you'll get this really magical sound that I like. Now, pause the video and work on left hand alone, and then try it hands together, then press play to go on. Now, after the fermata, we get these 2 pickup notes which really belong on the next line because they lead us, you can see from the phrase mark that this is the start of our next phrase. Now, it's really important you watch the fingerings here. Otherwise, you'll run out of fingers. See, we need a finger 3 on this G so you can play those 3 notes legato. If you play the finger that you want to play, which is probably a 5, you'll run out of fingers and have to do something crazy. So really carefully watch the fingerings here. Now, pause the video and work on that section from the pickup to measure 3 through measure 4. Then press play to go on. Let's check out the left-hand part here in measure 3. Can you pause the video and see if you can figure out what is happening here in measure 3 for the left hand? Try and look for the intervals, look for any patterns, and then press play and we'll check it out together. Okay, let's look at this. We start on an E here with finger 5, and then hopefully you notice we go up a 5th, up a 4th. And this is a pattern we see so often in music. A 5th plus a 4th brings us back to the note we started on. So we have E, B, E with fingers 5, 2, 1. And then we have that same pattern again here on C. C up a 5th, up a 4th. C, G, C. And you'll find that I use this pattern again and again throughout this piece. The left hand is a kind of ostinato that will repeat over and over throughout. Now let's look at measure 4. What pattern do we have here? The pattern changes a little bit. This time we just have a G and then up a 5th. I probably would have kept that pattern going, except it would start to crash into what the right hand is doing, which is why I break the pattern here to just go up a 5th, and then we tie that 8th note to the quarter note. And then what do you see here? Do we have the same pattern again? Now we have D, A up a 5th, up a 4th. D, A, D. Now, check out measures 5 and 6 and tell me what you notice. I hope you notice the same pattern again. But I want you to check every note and tell me if there's something different or if it's an exact repetition. We always have to check every note when we're first learning a piece. Can you find the one note that's different and point to it? If you're pointing right here, you're correct. Look, up here we had that tied. Remember, that's where I broke the pattern. And then here we complete the pattern all the way because now the right hand is up higher, so we'll be able to manage to keep the pattern going, and then we come back down to D. And while we're at it, let's look down here to measure 7 and 8. Does the pattern continue or does something change? Remember, you have to check every note. It stays the same as before. It stays the same as before. We've got an E chord. We've got a C chord. We have a G chord, but what happens this time? Now we're down an octave. Okay, I wanted it to sound more rich and deep here, so I dropped this G pattern down an octave, and then the D is back where it was before. So again, just one little change keeps you on your toes and keeps the song interesting. Let's try to play it. So now the left hand moves to bass staff. So finger 5 comes down here, E below middle C. We get 5, 2, 1, 5, 2, 1, 5, 1, tie, 5, 2, 1. Now, if I can suggest that you not lock your hand into one shape like this, don't play like that. See, because then your hand has tension. You can glide from note to note. Once I'm done with that E, I don't have to keep my finger there. I can shift my wrist and hand. Keep your hand and wrist flexible as you go through those notes. Just float through them. Okay? This is played gently and comfortably. I don't want to see tension in your left hand as you play. Okay, see how I can just float through those notes? We're going to add damper pedal later, but if you'd like to go ahead and start adding it now, you can. I just remember to do an up-down every time your finger 5 goes and plays a new low note. Now pause and work on measures 3 and 4, left hand alone, then press play to go on. Now, when you're ready to put this hands together, I recommend you go super, super slow and count. And 1E, and 2E, and 3E, and 4E, and 1E, and 2E, and 3E, and 4. And I promise the first time it's going to feel miserable and super, super hard. But if you do a lot of right hand alone, a lot of left hand alone, and get really comfortable with both, then when you put your hands together, just trust your fingers, go slow, count the subdivided beat, and if you go slow, 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 super slow motion, you'll get it faster than if you go fast. Remember, slow is fast. Sometimes practicing slow is the fastest way to learn it, and so you'll get faster by practicing slow. Now, let's go on with right hand alone and look at the pickup notes to measure 7. We have and 1E, and 2E, and 3E, and 4E, and 1E, and 2E, and 3E, and 4E. And I'm going to stop right there because that's the end of the phrase. Okay? And notice we've got a lot of notes back and forth. And notice the interval. We've got a 6th here, then a 5th here, 6th again, and lots of notes back and forth. And a good motion to help with that is this kind of rotation motion that we've talked about before. Remember, just pretend like you're turning the knob of a door. And then you don't have to use as much finger motion. You're using the rocking of your arm to help with those notes. Okay, now I went on to measure 9, but let's stop and just focus on measure 7 and 8. Use the 2 pickup notes to measure 7 and pause the video. Watch the fingerings carefully. Don't forget all F's are F sharp. Read the notes and rhythms and fingerings carefully and work on the right hand alone. Then press play to go on. Now looking at the pickup now to measure 9, we start off the same, but then here, notice 3, then finger 1 has to cross under, and that brings us up here. Then finger 1 has to skip down, and then we end on A. So full speed we get. Now, that's tricky. I can play it at full speed, but you're going to be playing it very, very slowly. And one trick that I like to do, I might have taught this to you before. These are called the fast tools. When there's a section that is lots of 16th notes in a row, I like to use the fast tools to help my fingers play more confidently. And one tool you can use is repeating notes. starting here in the pickup to measure 7, I might play every single note 4 times in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. I might do this whole section, every note 4 times. Keep a really relaxed hand, relaxed wrist as you do that. Then 3 times on every note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, etc. Then 2 times on every note. Then 2 on every other note. Then 2 on the first of every group of 4. And that one's kind of tricky. So if that's blowing your mind, you don't have to do that one, but that's one I like to do. And then you can go back to playing it normal. And usually my fingers magically can play it much better after I do that exercise. So try it. It's called the repeating note technique. 4 on each note, 3 on each note, 2 on each note, then 2 on every other note, then 2 on the first of each group of 4. So basically on the beat, if you're counting the number part of the beat, and then you go back to playing it normal. Pause to work on this section with all the 16th notes, from the pickup to measure 7 all the way to measure 10, then press play to go on. Now let's look at the left-hand part. Here in measure 7, what do you notice about the left-hand part? Here in measure 8, what happens? We go down instead of up this time. It's the same pattern. But now we're going down. So a slight change to the pattern. And then together it will sound like this. Playing that without damper pedal. In our next lesson, or in a later lesson, we'll add damper pedal. But for now, I recommend you not try and worry about that yet. Now pause to work on the left-hand part for measures 7 through 10. If you want to challenge yourself and try a little bit of it hands together, you can, or you can save that for later this week. Great, so on your own this week, I recommend a lot of right hand alone with counting the beat out loud, and 1E and 2E, and make sure you get all those rhythms accurate. Make sure you practice left hand alone, and then slowly, slowly put that hands together. Great job today learning the A section of Autumn Moon. Thanks for watching, and happy practicing. Well, we learned a piece called Autumn Moon today. You know what that means? Yup, moon jokes. You guessed it. Okay, I'll go first. So, there were some astronomers who got tired after watching the moon go around the Earth for 24 hours, so they called it a day. Hey, did you notice last night that the moon is waning? I did. Do you think it's sad? Nah. It's just going through a phase. Okay, one more. How does the moon cut its hair? I don't know. How? Eclipse it.